Welcome to my YouTube channel, Dreamify Animation. In a world where the night sky held no stars, only an endless stretch of dull, colorless dark, people had forgotten what it meant to look up in wonder. The heavens were silent, and above the sleeping cities and distant mountains, only a lonely boy named Corin stood on the tallest tower each night. His job was unlike any other. He was the star painter. Every evening, Corin would climb the spiral spire that touched the clouds. Up there, surrounded by wind and silence, he would unroll the ancient canvas of the sky and dip his brush into shimmering stardust, a silver-gold glow kept in a floating orb passed down for generations. With gentle swirls and flicks, Corin painted stars, bright ones, faint ones, constellations that whispered forgotten stories. Every night he brought light back to the world, while the people below dreamed peacefully, never knowing who made their night skies shine. But Corin was alone. The gift of the star painter came with a curse. No one could see him, no one could hear him. The magic that allowed him to create light kept him apart from the world. His parents, his friends, even the elders of the city, they all believed the stars painted themselves. The only voice Corin ever heard was that of the spire itself, old, creaky, and wise. It sometimes hummed lullabies through its wind-carved bones, but mostly it kept quiet. Corin's only companions were the stars he created, which winked down at him like little friends, but never talked back. One night, after 1,000 lonely paintings, Corin grew tired, not just physically, but inside his soul. He longed to speak, to laugh, to be part of something. The stars, no matter how beautiful, began to lose meaning. He painted them slower, with less care. The constellations became scattered, jagged. One evening, frustrated and trembling with boredom, he dipped his brush deep into the darkest corner of the stardust orb, a place he was warned never to touch, but warnings felt meaningless now. With a frustrated stroke, Corin swirled the dark energy onto the sky canvas, creating a spiral unlike anything he'd ever drawn. Instead of shining, it absorbed light. Instead of glowing, it hummed low and menacing. It was a perfect black hole, beautiful, terrible, alive. For a moment, Corin smiled. At least it was different. But then the stars around it began to flicker, then vanish. Whole patterns he had painted unraveled like thread pulled from cloth. The canvas tore slightly where the black hole spun. Corin felt the winds of the sky shift, colder than ever. He tried to reverse the stroke, to paint over it with stardust, but nothing worked. The black hole had a will of its own, and it was hungry. Corin ran down the spire that night. He had never left a sky unfinished, but terror gripped him. In the days that followed, the world noticed. Nights grew shorter. Time seemed to jump. People aged overnight or relived entire days. Shadows moved without light. People forgot where they were, or worse, remembered things that had never happened. Some said they saw strange shapes walking under the stars, tall and silent, wrapped in torn sky fabric, whispering in a language only children understood. The elders called it the unraveling, and panic swept across the land. They sent priests to pray to the sky, astronomers to measure the vanishing constellations, but none could fix it. None knew the truth. Corin hid in the ruins of the old observatory at the edge of the world. There he stared at the sky, his broken creation. He didn't cry, he didn't sleep. He simply watched as the whole grew, taking not just stars but memories, dreams, even sounds. Then one night, the wind whispered, "You must go beyond it." Was the spire's voice softer now? Corin looked back at the tower. Its tip was now cracked, leaning slightly, as if bowing in defeat. But the message was clear. If Corin wanted to fix the sky, he had to leave the world he knew and enter the black hole to repaint from the other side. Terrified but determined, Corin climbed the spire one last time. With the orb of stardust flickering weakly at his side and his brush trembling in hand, he stepped onto the edge of the canvas, the very border between space and nothing. He stared into the black hole, which pulsed slowly, like the heartbeat of a god, and then he jumped. The descent was endless. Colors vanished, shapes melted, time folded in on itself. He saw memories, his own, others, dreams that hadn't yet happened. He floated past forgotten stars, heard songs of galaxies, unborn, and finally he landed, not on ground but on a swirling sea of light and shadow. This was the other side, the source of canvas, where every sky ever painted was born. Here he saw figures, painters like him, from other worlds. Some had feathers, others wings, some were pure light. They watched him silently. One approached, an old woman with eyes like nebulae. "You broke the canvas," she said. "I was alone," Corin whispered. "You were chosen," she replied, "but no one told me why." She touched his forehead, and suddenly Corin saw the sky was not just decoration, it was memory. Every star held a story, a soul, a lesson, a piece of someone. By painting stars, he was keeping hope alive. Without it, the world forgets itself, falls apart. That was the purpose of the painter, not to be seen, but to help others see. "I want to fix it," he said. "Then paint not with dust," the old woman said, "but with truth." She handed him a new brush, one made of woven light and anchored in love. It hummed with warmth, and Corin understood what he had to do. He stepped onto a fresh canvas, vast, endless, waiting. With each stroke, he didn't just recreate the stars, he sang their stories. One for the girl who loved a boy who moved away. One for the mother who lost her child and never stopped whispering lullabies. One for the old man who forgot his name but remembered the sound of birds at dawn. Each star returned, brighter than before, glowing with meaning. But Corin didn't stop there. He painted bridges between memories, constellations that helped people dream again, symbols that healed, a comet that carried lost messages, a moon shaped like a laughing child. The black hole, once so powerful, began to shrink, not disappear but become part of the sky, a reminder of mistakes and growth, a necessary shadow. When Corin finally returned to his world, it was not as it had been. People remembered the stars again. Children pointed upward with joy. Lovers wrote poems to the moon. Elders told stories around bonfires about the time the sky nearly vanished, and Corin, he was visible, not to all, but to some, to the child who never fit in, who one night saw Corin painting and waved, to the woman who dreamed of the same consolation every night and cried when it finally appeared, to the boy who sat quietly on rooftops and whispered thanks. Corin kept painting, not for praise, not for glory, but because now he understood. The sky is not just a place above. It's a reflection of everything we are, everything we fear, everything we hope, and every night, when the stars shimmered with fresh meaning, people felt a little less lost, a little more connected, and, somewhere in the heart of the canvas, A boy with a glowing brush smiled, no longer lonely, but part of the story. Even now, if you look up on a particularly quiet night, you might see a new star blink into life. Not random, not accidental. A memory, a dream, or a truth waiting to be remembered. And if you listen closely, you might even hear the brushstroke,